Hey guys, my name is Mike, and I don't usually like recording from this computer workstation, but we are where we are. So this video is going to be a little shorter because it's just the tail end from the last video I did. I'm going to add some cost breakdowns to the end of this one, just to get a rough idea in case you're crazy enough to embark on such a project. Because one thing I haven't had is just some kind of a idea on what a project's going to cost. I think what I'm going to do is do a total breakdown from the time I got the bus. Just in case somebody's crazy enough to go in on this. I guess I like to be lit on fire by the internet, because I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people that have plenty to say about how I could have saved a bunch of money and all this other stuff. Look, I only have to come in cheaper than what it would cost to go buy one of these. And even then, not even necessarily cheaper, because the whole point of this is to build exactly what you want. So I don't have to come in light years cheaper. I just got to be in the ballpark. The other thing I wanted to point out before we get going is it's going to be a few weeks before I can make another video. I've got a wedding in Florida, and then I got a trip to Texas, and so it's going to be a busy few weeks. So there may be a little break again, which I apologize, because I do want to get this bus done. Right now, we're trying to be ready to roll by next summer, so we'll see. Anyhow, here we go. All right, time to get busy. So I'm going to show a little bit more detail, but I think the shower is going to work. I scooched this drain in. I'm not using that flush cap for ceramic tile. I'm just going to use this, you know, the stock beauty ring. I think the only thing I'm going to have to do is, because I don't have a seal here, I'll have to run a little sealant to kind of go around this hole, but I think it's going to work fine. What's up, guys? It's Thursday. Here we go again. Gonna try and get this wall panel finished up and the shower enclosure installed. What we're working on right now is this curvature of the ceiling, and I've got one of those contour. This is the small one. I got one of these. I got it off of Amazon. I've got a bigger one, but still not big enough. So we are going to try this drafting thing from Office Depot. It's just a piece of metal that's bendable. It's not working as well as I'd hoped, but it does seem to be doing the trick. It's long enough because I'm only got a 1/2 inch radius going here, so it's not quite as much as it looks, I guess, for lack of a better term. But we're gonna get the cutting that top piece of tile and then get going. Today's goal, like I say, is to finish these 2 walls, get this ceiling painted with a waterproofing sealant, and if we can get that done, we'll be in good shape. Man, oh man, how many times can we change the plan? So, we got a little problem. The shower enclosure on this wall is too tall. You probably can't see it, but that's at a pretty steep angle right there. So, I guess when I took the measurements, I know I needed 72 inches, but I think I must have measured before I put the subfloor in, and I could have swore I took account for the furring strips, but apparently not. So I can't cut the glass because the mounting holes are too close to the top, so we're going to try and recess this thing up into the roof. I don't know if it's going to work, because if it don't, I mean, this has all got to come out, which is going to suck bad. But that's where we're at. The rest of it came together nicely. Got the shower installed. The only disadvantage, I guess I'll call it, this handle sticks out a little bit because this is a thin-walled installation, not insulation. Anyhow, that's the only drawback of having that thin wall, which I can live with. I mean, I'm going to have to live with it. It's not like we got an option. But let me show you the back side. So like I say, I move this in so that this will clear once I put a piece of plywood over this. And like I say, I had to cut this hole bigger so that that dish would recess enough. It still is pulled tight against the hardy board, but I still just goop the hell out of it in there just to really make sure I don't get no water coming through. But I'm okay. I'm happy with this. This is gonna work. I'm good with it. Now we just gotta hope we can do the same for the shower enclosure. Well guys, it's finally in. The long-awaited shower. This is a Dreamline Neo Angle 34-inch shower. And one thing, it seems abundantly clear now, but when I was looking for showers and shower pans and everything else, your pan
the white thing on the bottom has to be 2 inches bigger than your enclosure. So this is a 34-inch shower enclosure on a 36-inch shower pan. That might make perfect sense to somebody in the plumbing business, but you know, I'm not that guy. Everywhere I was looking, nobody mentioned that little tidbit of information. This is kind of cool because it's got a magnetic door enclosure, so that just, you know, it locks it. I don't trust it enough, you know, going down the road, so I'm going to have to make some kind of a locking contraption for when this bus is in travel mode. But other than that, I mean, I'm happy with it. We still got a little cleanup to do. There's some mortar on the bottom there. I want to get a different shower head because that's kind of low for me. It's perfect for Jennifer, but I'm very happy with this tile. This is a vinyl tile. I'll put a link somewhere. Very happy with it. Very easy to use. You can cut it with a table saw or even a skill saw. Very easy to cut. I do recommend ordering the trim pieces. I had to order those separately. I bought the tile at Lowe's, but the trim pieces I had to order from the website. But there it is. As I mentioned earlier, height was an issue for me. It's 72 inches, this glass enclosure. The shower pan is 3 inches. So that was the missing component when I measured all this up. When I measured the shower enclosure, I had plenty of room, but when we came time to throw the extra 3 inches for the enclosure, it put me up too tall. And I don't know if they make a low profile shower enclosure base thing. I would have been okay if I would have cut that out, because again, I just added subfloor on top of my existing subfloor. If I had to do this whole project over, that would be the only thing I'd change, is I would cut this angle out of the subfloor I installed so that this would sink down a 1/2 inch, because that's all I really needed was a 1/2 inch. You can see here, pay no attention to that ugly mess. We're going to use some filler or whatever, trim board, something to clean that up. That's the only thing I'd do differently, I think. I'm real pleased with the tile. And because that glass is pretty heavy, I did add some lumber to screw those mounting brackets into on both of them. I mean, this one already, I just doubled this one up to catch that mounting, just because again, that glass is real heavy, and I didn't want to take any chances with this going down the road. I don't think it would go anywhere, but now this is just super solid. Like I say, this is a 34-inch shower. If you can get away with a 32, they're in stock just about everywhere, but a 34 I had to order. But plenty of room. To me, I can move around in this thing. Other than the shower head, which again I'm going to move up. But even if I can't, I could make this work. But I think a 34-inch shower, like I say, I'm 6 foot. And it's, I think there's enough room in there. It's gonna have to be, huh? One other nice thing about this Dreamline, these hinges have locks. Because my concern was with this door, you know, once I get a countertop on here, I did not want the corner of this countertop to hit the shower door, but this thing, those things lock it right there. Gives me about 2 inches of clearance there. I thought about, because this door is reversible, you can put it on either side, but I honestly felt it would be much more disastrous to have this door open and somebody kick this door open and that, fire in the hole, that doorknob hits that glass. I think that would just be disastrous. So we went with the right, left, I don't know which way this is, but that way. I should also mention, I believe these hinges are adjustable. There's a little Allen head in there, so if I needed to keep it from moving a little more, I have that option. But with that said, I think this is far better than any RV shower could ever be. So I try to use residential stuff as best I can. My cabinets are all made out of plywood except for this one. This is the low end one. But I'm trying to overbuild everything in this bus because it's going down the road. Luckily, you know, this air ride suspension is pretty smooth. But going through Arizona, I could imagine it's going to pitch and turn. So we're just trying to make it as strong as we can. All right, so some fun facts we learned doing this shower project. These black lines are annoying. Definitely get 2 caulking guns. And for your adhesive, I recommend getting the big 28 ouncer. One of the smaller tubes here can do about 2 to 3 tiles. And I just, you know, of course, halfway through the project, I got the bigger one. I wanted the big one to start, but they were out of stock everywhere. So definitely get 2, because initially from my first pass, I was just switching out the tubes in the one caulking gun, and that sucked a lot. So definitely get 2 different caulking guns. The other thing is unless you kind of plan out your cuts, you're going to have a lot of waste. The nice thing with this shower, if you have 2 walls, whatever you're cutting on one wall, the remnant piece will work on the other wall. These things they only go one way. They're interlocking. I'm not sure if you can see this lip on the top, and then on the bottom there's this overhang. I had it upside down. There's an overhang, and you definitely want that on the bottom so that the water will just drip on down. But yes, definitely once you pick a direction, and like I say, the overhang should be on the bottom, that much I'm sure of. You definitely need to plan, you know, if I cut this one short, that little piece on that wall that you cut off will fit, most likely, over on this wall. So once I started doing that, I thought I was going to have to get another box, but once I figured out better planning of my cuts, it worked out fine. The only other suggestion I would have is when you're doing the door, you definitely want 2 people. This door is heavy. You'll blow out your O-ring trying to lift this thing up and set it yourself. Even with, I had some wood that I'd set up to rest the door on, and it was still a lot. So definitely, you know, have a helper to put the screw in the hole when you get the door set. Because there's a hole in this glass, and then there's a little plastic grommet that goes in the screw, and the door has to rest on that little plastic grommet. And then there's some vinyl shielding behind it. I'm sure you probably can see it. But it's just a lot of tedious nonsense to get that door set. The side panels weren't so bad. I did those by myself, but definitely 2 people on the door. And I would have to say the rock star of this project, believe it or not, was the oscillating saw. You know, mine's a DeWalt, but any one of these would work. It helped immensely, especially if you have to start doing some custom roof modifications to get that thing to fit. But it did help with cutting some of the trim. I did use my bandsaw what is that thing called? Miter saw. This thing. This would cut the tiles amazingly. Messy as hell. You'll notice in some of the shots there's white plastic everywhere. But it cuts right through it like butter, and it makes nice straight corners. So definitely those tools made this project a lot simpler. One thing I noticed a lot of people don't get into is how much it costs to do the project they're working on. So I'm going to put a breakdown. At rough estimate, I think I'm into this for about $2,500 for this shower and the walls, the hardy board, not the lumber. But I'll put a total breakdown minus the shower head. And I don't think I could have got into it. I could have got into it a little cheaper using a different shower, but I don't think you'd be able to do this for less than $1,500, to be honest.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I'll like I say, I'll put the breakdown of the materials I had to use, and just to give you an idea. So this is the big boy. This was the biggest expense, the Dreamline 34-inch shower. Shower base, you know, the second biggest one, almost 400 bucks. The exhaust fan, you should have a fan in there. You can get all kinds of them. Hardy board, nothing special. Definitely recommend the backer screws because anything else doesn't seat. Mesh tape just to go between the joints. This stuff is amazing. It's still flexible a little bit even now. This, and you know, latex caulking, pretty standard. Those are my Palisade tiles. I used 3 boxes. Trim piece to go with it. I had plenty of trim left over. And then I already talked about the adhesive. It has to be PVC rated. And my total cost of $2,059. It was more than that because I had wire and switches and a few other odds and ends and, you know, drill bits, blah blah blah. But that's the bulk of the materials.